A young couple vanished from a remote Australian beach, leaving behind a chilling trail of clues that pointed to a sinister fate. What drives two people to disappear without a trace? And what secrets lie buried in the sands of a desolate shore? Why? Would someone abandon their lives so abruptly? And who or what might have forced their hand? Could the ocean itself hold the key to a mystery that refuses to be solved? This perplexing case began on January 25, 1987, at Cheviot Beach, a rugged and isolated stretch of coastline on the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria, Australia. Gary Heywood, 18, and Susan Bartlett, 28, a couple known for their quiet lives, vanished under circumstances that have puzzled investigators for decades. Their disappearance, steeped in eerie details and unanswered questions, remains one of Australia's most enduring unsolved mysteries. Gary, a lanky teenager with dreams of becoming a mechanic, worked odd jobs at a local garage. Susan, a decade older, was a reserved woman who had recently moved to the small town of Mount Martha after a difficult divorce. The two met at a community event and quickly became inseparable, despite their age difference raising eyebrows among locals. Friends described them as devoted but private, often escaping to secluded spots like Cheviot Beach to avoid gossip. Gary's family noted he was saving for a car, while Susan worked part-time at a bakery, keeping to herself after a turbulent past. Rumors swirled that Susan's ex-husband, a volatile man with a history of threats, disapproved of her new relationship, but no evidence directly tied him to the case. The day they disappeared was a swelteringly unbearable Australia Day holiday. Gary and Susan told friends they were heading to Cheviot Beach, a place known for its treacherous cliffs and unpredictable tides, to picnic and swim. They left in Gary's beat-up Holden sedan, packed with a blanket, snacks and a small radio. When they didn't return by evening, Gary's mother grew worried. It wasn't like him to stay out without calling. By the next morning, police were alerted, and a search began. At the beach, investigators found their car parked haphazardly near the cliff edge, keys still in the ignition. Nearby, their blanket was spread out with uneaten sandwiches, a half-empty water bottle, and Susan's sandals neatly placed beside it. The radio was silent, its batteries dead. Most chillingly, a single set of footprints led from the blanket to the cliff's edge where the sand gave way to jagged rocks below. No footprints returned. Police scoured the area, deploying divers to search the churning waters and volunteers to comb the cliffs. The tide was notoriously strong at Cheviot, and some theorized the couple had been swept away while swimming. But their clothes were still folded on the blanket, and no bodies ever surfaced. Unusual for the area's currents, which typically washed debris ashore. A sniffer dog tracked their scent to the cliff but lost it at the edge, as if they'd vanished into thin air. The car yielded no fingerprints other than Gary's and Susan's, and a smudged partial print on the water bottle couldn't be matched. A local fisherman reported hearing a scream around 3 p.m. that day, but he was too far offshore to see anything. Another witness, a hiker, claimed to have seen a man in a dark jacket watching the beach from the dunes hours earlier, but the description was too vague to pursue. The investigation deepened, revealing tantalizing but inconclusive leads. Susan's diary, found in her apartment, hinted at fears of being watched and mentioned an argument with an unnamed person days before. Police questioned her ex-husband, who had an alibi he was at a barbecue 100 kilometers away, verified by multiple witnesses. Gary's co-workers mentioned he'd been nervous recently, claiming someone had slashed his tires a week prior, though he brushed it off as a prank. A third lead emerged when a pawn shop owner in Melbourne reported a man trying to sell a necklace resembling Susan's, but the seller never returned. and the item was lost before police could examine it. Then came the first twist, a week after the disappearance. A torn page from Susan's diary was found washed ashore 10 kilometers away, with the words "I'm sorry, I can't stay" scrawled in her handwriting. Experts couldn't confirm if the ink was fresh or weathered, and the paper's condition suggested it might have been planted. The second twist was even stranger. 6 months later, a local diver found a rusted knife embedded in the seabed near Cheviot Beach, its handle wrapped in cloth. Forensic tests found traces of blood, but the sample was too degraded to yield DNA. The knife didn't match any owned by Gary or Susan, and its origin remains unknown. The third twist came in 1990 when a psychic tipped police to a nearby cave, claiming the couple's spirits lingered there. A search uncovered a tattered piece of fabric resembling Susan's scarf, but tests were inconclusive and the lead fizzled out. No arrests were ever made, and the case went cold by the mid-1990s. Theories abound. Some believe the couple staged their disappearance to start anew, though their lack of funds and untouched bank accounts make this unlikely. Others suspect foul play, pointing to Susan's ex-husband or an unknown stalker. The cliff edge footprints fuel speculation of suicide or an accidental fall, but the absence of bodies and the tidy scene argue against it. The knife and diary page suggest a violent end, yet no concrete evidence ties them to the couple. In 2017, police reopened the case after new sonar technology mapped the seabed, but no remains were found. The Heywood and Bartlett families, heartbroken, hold annual vigils at Cheviot Beach, hoping for closure. This isn't just a disappearance, it's a riddle wrapped in loss. A stark reminder that some truths slip through our fingers like sand. The ocean keeps its secrets, and Cheviot Beach remains a silent witness to a mystery that refuses to be solved. What do you think happened to Gary and Susan? Was it a tragic accident, a desperate escape, or something far darker? Could the knife or diary page hold the key, or are they red herrings? Share your thoughts, and subscribe for more gripping true crime stories that linger long after the tide recedes.